back to the OPL. What a commanding victory from the Direwolves. It looked like from minute one that game. Absolute control. And Juves, an area of the map I know that you thought potentially would go in Order's favour was that top lane, but Chippy's big redemption story this game. Picks himself up a solo kill. What a terrific performance.
Yeah, like we were talking about, 0-7 last week to 7-0 this week. Probably finished with even more kills, but, I did see him on the 7-0 and something on that Wukong, right? Like, we talk about Chippy's being that side lane 4-1 split pusher, impacts team fights a little bit late, but, this time pretty much starting team fights on the flank, having a really good performance. And, is this the evolution of Chippy's that we've been waiting to see?
Yeah, certainly seems to be the case. That evolution is coming in. Rusty, sorry to cut you off. I actually want to get your opinion on the support player because Decoy was subbed out for Cupcake during the Gauntlet run. However, if you cast your mind back to kind of week 7 of last split, Direwolves look like they could be the best team in the league at that stage. I think they were on like a 6-game tear. What have you made of Decoy this split? That was a pretty good Rakan performance.
Yeah, overall it was a decent performance from him. I think that, week 1 kind of showed us that he's struggling on anything that doesn't have engage. So they're very clearly trying to find a middle ground even now where the Rakan's possible. Heal supportive style champions with the engage there. Struggled a little bit in the mid to later stages of the game though, once the Mordekaiser started to get his eye in. And I do think that pressure actually might have got to Danny a little bit because the engages actually started to get even worse, but found himself towards the very end of the game. He had Chippies backing him up and they got the work done as a team. And I think that's the most important part.
And Skimmy, your boy's Order just cannot find any consistency at all. What the hell is going on?
I don't know. It was annoying, I guess, in a way, the fact that, Swiper was playing so well despite the amount of influence that Chippies was able to find, but just running in and as a one-man army saying, look, I'm doing as much as I can. I'm using the kit to its fullest ability, right? Always a big mental game as to who is best suited for that Death Realm. And for the most part, found a lot of value in, taking people out to break up that CC chain. But by the point that Rare was at that insane God mode, it felt like they just didn't have enough juice in the tank to try and defeat the sustain the damage and just the sheer pressure that Direwolves threw their way.
However, for Order fans, 1-1 still on the table, obviously, because we are only halfway through the week, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Congratulations to the Direwolves. That was a really great game. However, guys, moving on to the next segment, this is actually going to be where we go through our Neo Surf winners. The clips you are viewing have already earned themselves a $100 Neo Surf voucher. And we are going to now pick out of these clips who is first place to earn themselves a $500 Neo Surf voucher. So the shortlist submissions that we're going to see: Davo Erlo, Death Casting, Eggs Benedicto, Jimmy Icevent, Mercury Ose, and Justin Mack. If we can bring up the first one, Davo Erlo's submission to the Neo Surf Challenge. All right. What do we think, boys? Where are we starting, Rusty?
That's pretty good. I mean, I respect it. Remember, so the thing that I'll say is he's going to be next to a lot of faces, so it might stand out like a sore thumb having the pages there if I was going to critique it, but I like the separation from Nick Boy and the casters as well. That was real good.
Definitely has to take Nick's spot, because if he's not the first, I'm just going to get distracted. Skimmy, thoughts?
He went for a storyboard. I asked for a story. The narrative was there. A+++++.
I think that
give me some semblance of intelligence here.
Me or
yeah,
Skimmy?
You
bring it back.
If you're coming to me for intelligence, then we might be left lacking. But no, it's a good video, but it's hard to compare to what you haven't seen yet.
Okay,
right?
Well, my one comment is Jasper writes better than Davo Erlo. So next one is going to be Death Casting. Death Casting. Let's roll it. Let's get through.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. It keeps going.
This is good content. Take my spot.
Stop.
Remove me already. Just bench me already. This guy's taking the crown. Maybe that's what Chippies was doing when he was 0-7 as GP, just having an absolute field day fun.
Okay, I actually just realized he was eating the orange and he was GP.
He's having so much fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why he was K, mate, because he ate the orange. And it
Okay,
was
dude,
K.
that's
So
honestly, that's like a St Kilda Movie Festival type nomination. That one, like seeing the character unfold, and there was a good storyline, and it's like a bit like Inception, right? You gotta real dive deep to understand it. Real good movie.
Unpack the layers. All right, number 3, Eggs Benedict Toe.
The suspense.
Oh,
It keeps going.
Why am I hosting this
There
segment?
was, you know what I'll say about that one is I could feel the tension in the start of it. That was so intense when he was staring at the camera.
Spamming in my head.
I have
watching that.
one criticism to that video. Mans isn't gonna be starting to spin his helicopter hat and not actually take off into the sky. Okay? Don't do me like that, because I'm waiting there in the edge of my chair expecting him to fly off and end up in some SpaceX program, but instead he's just sitting there still.
Yeah, I like that as well. I kind of thought the same thing as you, that he was just going to make himself launch across the screen, and then those memes where they just keep repeat launching across the screen?
Yes.
That's what I was waiting for. So, Eggs Benedicto, definitely some things to incorporate in the next edit of that video. Jimmy Ice Fant.
Next.
Oh, go next.
Toby put a shirt on. That's all I'm saying.
We need to get Udisoft on as a guest caster.
He did it right though. You got to give him credit because he actually did what the rest of us had to do, which was awkwardly look to the left and right at nobody and pretend we're waving to someone. He actually did that,
okay.
so I got to give him some credit.
He gets points for doing it right, but he loses points for choosing the wrong person.
Yep.
And Skimmy, if you ever say we need to get Udisoft on this broadcast ever again,
Look,
that is the day you lose your job.
Don't worry, mate. He can take my spot. He's the same energetic as me. I'm sure he could slot right in.
Put a shirt on, Toby. Mercury Oath is
He's
our
a
next
mod.
one.
This dude's a mod in my stream, so this better be good.
That's OG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Annie?
Anime.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
And a
Internet
PGG
fans?
fan.
Yep. I don't mind that one, but I'm probably biased.
You know what? I'm going to say, first one, I've enjoyed. First time, I'm not blushing after you guys have been performing, so I'm a big
Spawn,
fan.
I think we're missing the big point here, right? There just are no dabs. Nobody can replace you in the video. Nobody can.
There is still one left.
Your
Skinny.
dreams cannot be answered. Okay,
I
please.
hold out hopes.
Please.
Did you give us a
Justin
daddy dab
Mack.
spawn?
Please take us out with the biggest dab ever.
Oh,
I'm blushing again.
It's so powerful.
Enchanter Meta. Where's the art sensor?
wait,
Okay.
for sure he wins, right? Or she wins.
Hyper carry.
100% they are the best.
That is
So-
the best one, like hands down.
Okay.
For so many wrong
They
reasons
are
though,
the
Juice.
2 for 6 entrants. They've all already won themselves a $100 NeoSurf voucher.
Amazing.
But
Congrats.
first place. Okay. I think we can eliminate the first 4. Is that safe to say?
No. GP has to win.
Okay.
No, the GP one's pretty good.
GP's my favorite by far.
Which one was GP?
GP was
Benedict
That was
Toes?
second, I
Yeah,
believe.
second.
Second. Okay, death casting then. All right, so Davo Erlo is out, correct?
Yeah, fair.
Good, but out.
Storyboard out.
Sorry, Dave.
Death Casting, shortlisted. Eggs Benedicto, cannot remember, so must be out. Jimmy Icepaint, I think also out.
Yeah, that's the Ubisoft one.
Mercury
He's on the wrong
O's,
crowds.
I enjoyed, so I'm keeping in.
Yeah, so that's... Can I just say a
Justin
bit of
Mack,
context?
in.
They didn't really appease the people that are voting, you know? I think that they did well, but they forgot who was actually deciding for a little bit
You
of
got to
there.
go full sellout mode. You got to chuck in a dab. You got to praise one of us.
Okay.
I don't know. You got to do something crazy.
However, we do only have a couple of minutes before Champ Select. So who goes for Gangplank? Who is voting for Gangplank?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Hands up in the chat. Press 1.
Okay, so that's 1 vote for Gangplank. So Death Casting, you have not won.
Damn. I tried,
Who goes
bro.
for Mercurios? The only one that didn't make me blush. Surprise, surprise. I will vote for that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean
Are you
that
the same one as
Enchanter
me there,
support
James?
Justin Mack has won? Is that who you're voting for?
Look,
Okay.
chat is coming in clutch here, guys. You got to give in to Twitch chat's demands.
All right. Well, congratulations. Justin Mack has won $500 worth of NeoSouth vouchers to be able to spend within the League of Legends store. Remember, we're doing this competition still. It runs until week 6. Thank you very much to our good friend of NeoSouth. I've just gone full Kiwi there.
Dude,
Give me
yes.
I said something, not 6.
I actually feel so miserable because I didn't give it to my moderator, and I can see him in chat calling me out right now.
I'm going to read the rest of this
He's
very
going to unmod
quickly.
himself, Jibs.
So if you want an opportunity to get in the opening credits, take a video of yourself joining the call, follow OPL and NeoSurf on Twitter, and then share using the hashtag NeoSurfWin. Got until week 6, as I said. Full terms and conditions on watch.lolesports.com. First prize, $500. 5 runners up, $100. We're still doing this thing. So big thanks to NeoSurf, where you can keep control of your payments in currencies around the world. Next game coming up, however, guys, it is the battle for the bottom. Gravitas versus Mammoth. 1 minute till champion select. I am still being reminded. Rusty, who wins and why?
Oh, I mean, it has to be Gravitas. I haven't seen enough from Mammoth in the way of being proactive to give them a victory yet. Like I think their bottom lane's played well. Their junglers had some big moments, but it's never been a piecemeal. They're all separate, and we haven't seen enough yet to give them any wins over Gravitas.
And Skimmy, the only man, still 2-0 on the tipping today, as Jubes dropped the last game. Who are you going with?
Yeah, going to go for Gravitas as well. I think that Prellis is an absolute madman. Give him Echo, he'll carry.
All right, Jubes.
Yeah, I'm growing the Gravitas Glory hype train so we can hear the theme song one last time.
And because I'm 0-2 and need to take some risks, I am going to go with Mammoth. Why? I don't know. How? I also don't know, chat. But all I'm saying is, this is going to be the game that has it all. That's just my gut feeling. However, I do believe we are ready to jump into the McDonald's Champ Select. So this is it. Game 3 of the night. It's going to be Gravitas and Mammoth after this break.
So I think Gravitas have really good jungle and mid, but all the other players are pretty mediocre, and I think we can easily take the win off them this weekend.
So I think Gravitas is a mediocre team and they'll be easy to beat. I think Gravitas on paper have a weak roster, but when they play OPL games, they're pretty scary. So I'm excited to play them in an OPL game.
I think Gravitas is an okay team. I think we'll definitely come out on top there.
So tonight we play off against Gravitas for hopefully our 1-6 victory match. Hopefully we can have a 40-40, 49-49 DDS spec and send them back to Lumby.
Well, Rusty, the references break the boundaries of the Rift. We're jumping into other games. We're basically sending them out of the Rift and back to Lumbridge.
They're too busy at Lumby to actually be able to get those victories yet, the OPL. No, we'll see how they continue to go here. I never, ever want to write off a team before we get to see them in-game, even though Mammoth are yet to find a victory yet in the OPL. There's 2 points. They will eventually, maybe. And 2, this is the best opportunity that they'll have for it right now in this split so far. So you have to have the highest possible hope, Skibby, for Mammoth coming into this one.
We've had back-to-back games that have decided which team stays in third and which team starts to fade away. And this is now going to be a battle at the bottom of the leaderboard. The best chance really for these teams to find success. And one touching point I want for me is really to highlight the fact of Kwaku, right? He used to be a part of Mammoth. In the last few games, he's been up against some very strong top lane opponents, and he's had a bit of a rough time. Sometimes his KDA not really foretelling of his ability. So I think for him, this is a game that's of big importance. One, to get a victory over your old team, but also to kind of rediscover some of that form and to also challenge the fact that Lived used to be a mid laner. He's transitioning into a new role, not to let him get the one-up over you.
Yeah, let's just not beat around the bush with Kwaku. He has had some shockers. He's had some fantastic games, and those usually the ones that Gravitas look their best as well, but he's had some absolute shockers. So we do need to find his consistency and form that he did have in those prior splits. But Skimmy, we need to take stock of what's happened so far in the draft, because Mammoth have just, there's no regard for composition right now. They are picking for themselves. And they've got the Yasuo, they've got a Nidalee for Bass, they've got the Ezreal in there early for Emboma as well. I think they just throw on the gauntlet here, like 5 best champions, go.
Obviously, a few things to touch on. The fact that Chungi, well known for his Yasuo, well known for his Kaiser as well, but it's going to be not chosen here today. Going to once again show us what a Yasuo can do from games 2 to game 3 here now. The Nidalee for some tempo, just blind, don't seem to care, regardless if Trundle was there for the matchup, and Lee Sin is going to be the response going into that one. But the Aphelios coming in here from Gravitas to deny a power pick away from what has to be the highlight of Mammoth's 5-man roster at this stage, making sure that Emboma does not have any comfort whatsoever.
Yeah, perhaps trying to make it a little bit more difficult for him. We will see now with the second ban out of Gravitas on their second rotation what they choose to get rid of. The Wukong ban I like. If you choose to go for the Wukong, maybe there are things that can handle it well, but the composition starts to actually become a relevant issue. They're going to get rid of the Ornn as well here, Gravitas. So 2 knock-up-based champions that can go in the top lane are going to be taken away. I'm still looking at the support role potentially, though, here for Mammoth as someone or as something that could have knock-ups if need be. If Artek's feeling real selfless and wants to play for a composition, you could consider the likes of, yeah, this is one of the options. I was going to say that maybe even the more aggressive version of the Alistar would have been there. But they've given something to the Yasuo. They've given him a grain of salt to work with, and that's more than 0. And so now they're starting to look like maybe they have a composition. Their damage is mixed, Skibby. They've at least got that going for them. They have engaged now with the Nautilus, so a lot of reliance on that bottom lane at least being even so that Artek can stay relevant, and they get the counter pick for top lane, whatever they would like.
Certainly are, and that is 3 picks taken off the board here to make Liv's job as hard as possible and to ensure that Quake gets the most desirable situation for himself. Another pick to highlight is the fact that Akali has been removed as well. A pocket pick here for Suman. He's had some very standout performances, I believe, when he first came in to the OPL roster, that he sort of showcased, hey, you know, I am the new face on the block, but don't take anything away from me. I will definitely smurf it up a Storm if given half the chance. Final pick comes out here as a Lulu, and it is going to be Protect Puma. Double support to empower him.
Yeah, they're going to give us support. It actually works quite nicely with the Renekton as well once the team fights start to come across. You've got the Karma Lulu, you've got the one-man carry squad here available for Gravitas. They are, I want to say, mostly physical when it comes to their damage threats, but you actually... You're going to have a Nico. We'll see where that one chooses to be. If it's an AD or AP as well above all of that, you would expect AD to punish the Renekton. But the one thing I was going to say for Gravitas is that they do still have Suman on the Karma in mid lane, and you know, he's renowned for his carry champion. Suman is the assassin guy, but he does have that other side of him where he could play the Karma. I expect it, however, to be like the Death Cap build, maybe the Luden's Echo into support items. Just a bit more AP in the mix so that their comp has more going for it. But the enemy team only really has the one tank, and that is the Nautilus down in the bottom lane. So again, lots of my attention and focus goes towards that lane and how they'll make it work, because I don't think they're getting the jungle focus.
Certainly aren't, and as you say, definitely going to have a big spotlight shone towards their bottom lane to find success. That Artek is beefy enough to actually find engage, but then live long enough to then cycle through multiple targets with the cooldowns that he has at his disposal. Nautilus is very squishy without the likes of a Stone Plate, Stopwatch, or anything else to make life easy for him. But what is interesting, as you touched on there with Sumin, is the fact that he has opted for this Karma. This will be his first one of the year. He's only played really control on the odd occasion. Take your mind back to when he was first brought in. He went for the Lissandra. We asked the coach at the time, what is the idea behind this? Look, he wants to cater towards the team. As weeks went on, he went more into the carry-oriented style. You know, your LeBlancs, your Akalis, Zeds even, right? So to see him go here and play towards the team should give them a lot of success, not only for Puma, but also to make sure that Kwaku does find a stand-up performance here today. Yeah,
and it enables Praylist to be more of that leader and more of that first mover around the rest of the Rift. You've got the Yasuo versus the Karma in mid lane, one of those matchups where Yasuo, especially at level 3 with the wind wall, might be able to handle you, but you survive the lane pretty easily, to be honest, if you are that Karma. You have wave control. You can try and force priority for your jungler, in this case the Lee Sin, to get around the Rift and put some work in. And that sounds like a recipe for Gravitas to find success, right? So the more that they can unlock the Praylist of the team to be super aggressive, the better they'll look in the early game, especially because their opposing jungler is a Nidalee, is a tempo-style jungler, where the Praylist on this Lee Sin can be much more variable in how he wants to play.
Well, let's see how this game plays on out here. Rusty, Gravitas on the left with Mammoth on the right. It's a big one. As we kick it off with our third game of the night to see exactly where the form is between these two. As you've highlighted, Praylist is, without a doubt, the big driving force of success. They sorely missed him when he was absent in one of their matches, but Beats continues his transition into the bot lane, and once again, it feels like a bit of a repeated narrative as to focus on these individual matchups, but to sort of see, can Mbowman and Arctic find enough success there to make sure that the hyper carrier Philios isn't able to fully come online?
So there's a couple of things here that I want to highlight. Number one is that Mboma, while he has gone for the Conqueror Ezreal, has chosen to go for the Exhaust. So he seems like he's going to be much more self-sufficient in how he wants to play this out. The Exhaust will have a lot of use for the Lee Sin and for the Renekton. So he's going to be sitting back, you know, in these team fights and just looking to keep himself alive while Artek does work with the team. Very clearly, of course, wants to be working with Chungy, as he will get his 2 Qs on the Raptors at level 1 to start with a bit more priority in lane. The other thing is that it's a Glacial Augment, Nico. So it's not going to be a press the attack or a lethal tempo or anything based off consistent auto attacks. It is going to be the AP, Nico, that we'll be seeing in top lane for Lived. Now, Lived is a mage player. He was a mid laner before he switched to top. So this isn't massively surprising. I think the AD Nico could maybe punish a little bit harder, though.
Has played the Nico once already this year, so definitely not going to be something that's wild or wacky in any form or fashion, but definitely continues the theme, which is the transition from mid to top is becoming, you'd almost say, a little bit more seamless as time goes by, but it does feel a little bit knee-jerk reaction in the sake of, once again, building a composition around this Yasuo. So many of those knock-up champions were denied in the draft. We need something, so we're not super reliant on him himself or the Nautilus.
Yeah, it does turn the composition away from just being a Yasuo Nautilus or, you know, something like that. Nico actually does work quite well with the Nidalee, with the Ezreal, with the ability to play back and just throw spells until one hits. But we'll hold that thought for the moment, if they'll be okay, actually. Kwaku, by doing that, has actually made this lane really hard for himself. By losing all of that health, just trying to get up there for the stun. I mean, that hurts.
That certainly does. I mean, it's already rough in most situations when you go into a ranged matchup, especially when you've got the Glacial Augment as well. Makes life incredibly easy for them in the early stages of this game. Solid trading pattern here in the mid lane as Chungy takes the tether, but then can respond in solid fashion, stacking up the Conqueror. Spear goes just to the side of him.
Yeah, the Spear was on his team, so for a sec, for the briefest moment, you're like, well, that's going to hurt, but nope. He's going to be able to walk that one out, Chungy. Nice little follow-up trade. Nice response to that tether being used. Knows that he has the ability to continue to punish more consistently this early in. But still, while the junglers will reveal themselves, nothing's going to change or really operate differently as a result of that. Top lane's still going to exist the way that it has been. Liv now using those potions will be able to retain his advantage up in this top lane. Lee Sin now actually going to redirect his pathing as Bass is going to cross through as well, Skibby. So maybe another little skirmish going to happen for the top side Scuttle Crab.
And with both priority in the favour of Mammoth, top side of this map, you'd have to say if there were to be a fight with Praylist hunting around, he would be contested quite easily, but it looks to be a case of Mammoth finding both the Scuttles to start things off. Very strong lane control, potentially a first blood here as well, as he flashes forward in response to that of Kwaku's, gets himself the first blood and waves to his old teammate.
And basically in the 1v1, he'll find himself the solo kill. You have to think about the context as to how he was able to get the harass down in the first place. A little bit of an overreach from Kwaku earlier on in the laning phase. Early use of the potion as well to try and force those stuns. But nevertheless, brilliant punish from Lived. And fantastic work to get himself that 1v1 solo kill.
And it just returns back to the narrative of this game. You're going up against your older opponent. You have not been in the best form of recent times. And, you know, you're looking to try and build confidence. And what better team than to build it up here? It's even as things could be at this stage. You've had some very rough performances, like I say, against the likes of Chiefs and Legacy that have showcased the discrepancies between the two. To fall victim this early on. Quite scary.
Yeah, and it's been good for a couple of members here of Mammoth as well. You know, it's not just the kill in top lane. You've got the Nidalee, who's actually been able to get the priority on double Scuttle Crabs, has got the faster jungle clear as well, especially once that jungle item is completed, and is already ahead in camp. So that'll be an experience lead. Chungy, stable in mid lane, has a CS lead for himself as well, about 1 wave worth of difference, is getting towards level 6. And towards those first item spikes, which are obviously invaluable for the Yasuo to start getting that crit on soon. Prayless, he has to be very careful here. And they concede the Drake as well.
Definitely going against them at this stage of the game, and Prayless known for being the leading voice on the team, unable to have the cleanest early game at this stage, and Mammoth finding great success, you'd have to say, with the blind pick of Nidalee, just not really caring about how the composition looked like for the first half, and just saying, we get everything, we're clearing, we're camping, we're doing it all.
And that's such a bad wave to lose if you're Kwaku in top lane as well. That's real rough. Cannon and a few melee minions going to go missing as he just has to walk back in. No teleport, no flash as well as that was used earlier with that first kill. Timing also the exact same between Lived and Kwaku when it comes to those flashes. So Bass will be very much attuned to when that is up and available if he wants to look up there for a game.
It has been for the most part when Gravitas are definitely at their strongest, the link up between their mid and jungle. How many times do we see them go the likes of a Yasuo Gragas, for instance, and just absolutely tear it against some of the biggest opponents in this league right now? And it feels like to me, you know, Chungy working himself into this, for the most part, has been able to find comfort in the champions that are unique to him. And ones
mostly
that
Ari,
allowed
right?
him to get up there. For sure. I mean, we've had Aries, we've had Kaiser's now going to rocket with the Yasuo, not really conforming to the quote-unquote meta as a whole. And, you know, it becomes the question of, you know, at what point do you say he's no longer the rookie on this team, but he's got enough experience under his belt?
I think that's going to be a few weeks away at least. You know, he's fresh to the league. He's not in a team that's been able to find those victories. He'll learn a lot through his defeats. I think that goes without saying. But yeah, it hasn't been the best introduction to the competitive League of Legends realm in Oceania here. So that will take quite some time. But the confidence, I will say, the fact that he's able to consistently pick his own champion, play his own style, and be allowed to do that, is a really good path of self-discovery in how he's going to operate in a competitive scene. He's not being forced into playing the meta slave style champions.
I guess they did make life a little bit easier for him by targeting away the Akali and the LeBlanc to make sure that Suman would not have full lane kingdom in this situation, going for the Karma. And it's definitely being bullied, as you can see right now, drawing the response of Prayless, which is a common trend, but not for aggression, but more for protection.
So taking stock of the game right now, it actually seems surprisingly okay for Gravitas. I mean, overall, they're losing objective after objective, but they have been able to get some semblance of control around these lanes. The biggest difference is going to be the jungle CS starting to build up, and just control of the map, I think, more than anything else. Chungy's just taking it apart, Suman.
Yeah, Chungy just goes for the all-in collapse. Both summoners used, he gets the kill, Suman does not respond, and sometimes we talk about this, right, as to should you be using it? I suppose in this situation he's thinking, I'm just going to wait, be it the next objective, be it the next team fight. My life has been conceded.
That's what a Yasuo gets when he starts to get control of lane. I'd say there's a little bit of a surprising kill there. You know, one of the strengths of Karma is the ability to sustain herself in the lane, especially against a melee champion. You can then use the empowered Mantra W to get that health back if things look rough. But, you know, one difference from this game to the last Yasuo that we saw, Skimmy, is it is the Ignite, not the Exhaust. So definitely looking to have more kill threat in his laning phase and in team fights as well with the Ignite there. And that obviously proves to be a very big deal.
Big reason why he received so much praise and why he was such a welcome addition, making the promotion from the OCS, the Challenger Series, now into the Pro League itself. And why we continue to watch him with a great excitement as to what his development looks like on a team like this, which is definitely on a developmental course. Moving in so many new players and really giving them a platform to shine, make that next step up in their professional careers. But
so this is probably... Yeah, I was going to say, this is probably the point where you'd want to see more from Gravitas. Prayless hitting level 6, Puma Beats, of course, doing the same themselves. But you look at the other side, man, it's a complete jungle item with boots for Bass. So now he just starts to accelerate wildly out of control. You've got the solo kill for Chungi, which results, of course, in having an extra crit cloak on top of his Berserker Greaves that he has. And the Manamune rush there for Mboma as well. So while he didn't have the Sheen in his build, he does still have the damage now.
There it is. And as you can see, the spear connects, and it definitely packs a punch there, taking at least half of Beat's health bar in one single swoop. And it's been quite quiet for the most part here. We've had a lot of focus around mid and top, especially in the jungle as well, but for the most part, bot lane has been quite content just farming away. No major discrepancy between the two of them. Quite content doing what they do, reaching those break points and trying to find any small advantage between the two builds they will obviously be going towards. But as you highlight the fact that Chungi has gone for the Ignite, and Mboma this time will be carrying the Exhaust, still going to have some very relevant teamfight damage.
Bass is just a nuisance right now, throwing spear after spear, trying to keep him away, basically. You've got the Drake in 2 seconds. It'll be the second one of the game. And to get those early 2 Drakes in gives a very meaningful win condition to the side of Mammoth if they're able to really get that one done. Okay.
Okay, Prayless, he's just going to look for that one. A little bit adventurous, quite honestly, there. Tries to jump in for the kick on Nautilus. He just hits him with the passive and locks him in place. He went swimming with the fishes as the spear connects, while growth was not enough effective health to survive that situation. And as they collapse to try and find priority to control the dragon, Mammoth will get themselves a second.
Adventurous may be the nicest way to explain what Prayless just did. Skibby, that may be a little bit too kind from you. I think that man just warthopped in. Oh, hold that.
Well, the bloom comes out and does not connect with anybody as a flash has to come as a response here from Sumin to ensure he doesn't go 0-2 already 11 minutes into this game.
But you know what was good? Was the punish by Mammoth. Because yes, you know, Prayless goes in maybe a little bit too aggressively, but everything was used at the same time. Mammoth very much aware that he's overextended himself. Punish instantly. Drake secured. Now 2 Drakes 11 minutes in. They're looking at a very early soul point. Unfortunately for them, it is the Cloud. The last 2 games have been a bit more exciting with those souls that we've had. But nevertheless, well and truly in the driver's seat. Mammoth looking for their first win of the split.
They most certainly are. Full focus in the draft went towards targeting Mammoth's ADC as well as lived in the top lane there. And Chungi's starting to showcase, hey, I've got these picks. If you don't respect it, I will showcase what I can do. An early lead for a Yasuo spells disaster. The wombo combo they have between these 2 key targets that allow it to come online just that much easier. But not to take away from what Gravitas have obviously put together in their situation. They've gone for a double support setup. They want to make sure that Puma hits those items as quickly as possible. And that Kwaku will have the mobility to dash on in, hit somebody with the Blade of the Rune King, and try and snipe them.
This Herald Charge is going to very successfully get them the outer turret here in top lane as well. It's going to be the first turret of the game, so some extra gold even going over into the pockets of both members of Bass and Lived here for Mammoth. That gold lead actually going to stretch pretty significantly. And this, to me, is going to be one of the first real tests we have of Mammoth when genuinely ahead. That was greedy from Bass. He's just got shared turret gold. He's decided to take a cannon with a spear as well. He'll get a second charge off, though.
He wants it all.
He does.
As an Italy, you love it, you know? You think of Graves, you think of Italy. They just want farm. They just want to carry, mate. They don't want it all to be about the laners.
I mean, if I see a Nidalee max range spear a cannon away from me, I'm tempted to just keep walking down my lane until I die.
It's the classic tax. Right? Coming from,
it's a lot of tax.
Coming from solo queue into your scrims, maybe into your games on stream here for all the world to see. Why not? Put them on blast. Let's see if you
can have a ranged minion. You can have 2 ranged minions, Skibby, but you can't have my cannon.
Maybe the Oprah of gaming. Bit of farm for you, bit of farm for you as well. Bit of farm
That's
for everyone.
not how this works, because that means Oprah's got nothing.
True. But a good heart. That's what she has.
That's what matters.
That is what matters at the end of the day. 14 minutes into this one, Mammoth have achieved themselves more than a good heart. They've got themselves 4,000 in the bank over their opponents. the best start possible here. One of the strongest starts at just that to kick off split 2 for them. 2 Drakes, Heralds as well. And the second one spawning in just under 15 seconds.
Yeah, waiting to see if they're going to contest that one straight away. We're actually looking at some item spikes starting to get built up by Gravitas. You've got your Hextech GLP 800 in there for mid lane. But we're still waiting on the AD carry and the top laner here of Quaker and Puma to get their items before they consider contesting anything, let's be honest.
Yep.
So if you were Mammoth, you can see the item difference. You're probably just going to go straight over to the Herald from spawn as they are right now. Take that one away. Expect it to be uncontested. And that should help you to break the next structure in the game. You'd be looking at mid-outer as well. If you're able to break that mid lane outer turret, open the map up for yourself, the next Drake being the third one of the game becomes incredibly easy to look at. They've got all the options in the world. They could summon Herald and just go straight to the Drake if they wanted to really early threaten the soul point.
Certainly good, and it's up to really Gravitas now to find success if they are trading all this. What can they get as a response? Liv dashes away, locks them all in place, double man Rue. Slows them then, as a result, with the glacial augment. And hits them with the fireman's hose to say, go back to where you came from. And a flash traded, a flash used.
Yeah, trades incredibly well there considering. Of course, they do get the flash out of him, but flash out of both respective opponents. Chalk that one up as a major W in the Mammoth column. Now we've got the Drake in 40 seconds. All of those summoners used. They still have their ultimates, I will say, Praelus and Quaku, so there is still at least a ward hop opportunity, but generally that just means that if you're going to ward hop kick someone as Praelus, you're going to die with it now, because you don't have the flash.
Yeah, definitely not going to be as easy now for that to come online. Begs the question now, what they will look to try and achieve with this one. No doubt, I'd imagine still waiting for some of these big breakpoints to come online, which are now starting to become a living reality. Infinity Edge is there. Bass continues to tax, but this time his opposition. He's an accountant working overtime.
That's an acceptable tax.
That is a good tax.
I'm going to start this one straight away. Again, will there be a contest? It is highly unlikely. If you look at the map state as well, Puma is top lane, so the chances of them looking to fight for this one is then close to 0. Easy as you like. Third Drake of the game goes down. Soul Point now going to be threatened in 5 minutes' time. And you're looking at what can we get in that 5 minutes if you are Gravitas. Again, I don't necessarily believe that the Cloud Soul is like this super OP, will auto win the game for you like some of the other souls can. But you really don't want to give it over for free.
Yeah, the strongest component, in my opinion, has to be the fact that it gives you so much movement speed, and it's going to obviously allow you then to rival what the Karma has as one of, you know, big pros and cons, if you will. So, give Mammoth a ton of tempo.
I'm hard pressed to find a way back into this game for Gravitas. Full stop. You know, it's a Lee Sin and a Renekton that have fallen behind. Both champions pretty reliant on finding their leads if they can, start to drop off in their ability to teamfight as the game goes on. The Renekton is going the Blade of the Ruin King build though against this Nico, so I think split pushing is a possibility. It's the Lee Sin that you have to be a little bit worried about. It's all about Puma. If they were smart, and they did kind of do this around the last Drake being taken, is they just planted him top lane so that no one contests his farming. But they need to get 2 items onto that Aphelios as fast as possible.
Yeah, you can see he's actually trying to achieve that as quickly as possible by going through the jungle, taking all the camps for himself, building that lead further and further in his favor. And as you can see there from the CS as well as the gold count, he is the one with the lion's share of the team's overall economy right now.
It has to be.
He will need that Runans as quickly as possible. Sitting on just a cloak at this stage. Wishes it was the invisible cloak from Harry Potter. He could just fast forward 10 minutes, go unnoticed, pop out.
Hopefully Mischief can be managed.
Yeah, just go full season 10.
The other thing is the supports that he has, right? So the 2 items that we'd be looking at is an Ardent Censer and an Athene's Unholy Grail. If they can both come online at the same time as the Runans, then they might be fighting fit. They can just put all of their eggs into the basket of Puma and hope that he does the work, but...
yeah, it hits like a truck. The True Shot Barrage. It's scary. And it always becomes a discussion point, right, between these meta AD carries, both opting for very different builds. Whoever gets the lead tends to stay there.
This game, I think this might be the one, Skibby. I think this might be the one that Mammoth find their first victory in. I don't want to jinx it too early, but I could say that in my honest opinion, I will be very surprised if they lose this one, and I have been surprised before, so...
I wonder, Rusty. We talk about Cast a Curse, we say things, then they go against us. Maybe you've jinxed them just...
Well, that's why we always have a way out. When you make a statement, you never speak in an absolute. So I think that's why we've spent the past couple of minutes talking about the Aphelios win condition, you know? So maybe I think that this game is kind of doomed and that Mammoth should be able to control this one. But there's always the but.
And the but is, the supports are looking to get themselves online. We're not going to go for a Fiend's Rush here on Luda. Instead, we're going to go for what appears to be a Redemption. Make sure that they have as much sustain in their back pocket. Couple that with the Ardent Sensor that comes out from the Karma. And ensure that they can try and patch the weakness of the item deficit between the two of them with empowerment. Well, the situation is, though, there is a timer set on this game, 1:20 for Soul Point. That would go the way of Mammoth. Yes, as you said, that Dragon isn't the strongest of all, but still it is a buff nonetheless. And if Yasuo is all about the wind, well, the wind is definitely in his favor.
Certainly is, and a bunch of scrying plants all around Summoner's Rift, of course, since the latest patch has come about. Helps a little bit with controlling when people start to push into your side of the jungle now that you've got them near your base gates. 2 items done here for Chungy, so it's all green lighted. If you were Mammoth, to take this Drake the second it spawns. You also look at the vision control that they have on the minimap right now, just above where Kwaku was recalling. I mean, that just belongs to Mammoth.
Yeah.
The question is, how do Gravitas even get to the area to contest? The answer is primarily through having some mid lane priority, because 4 of them are now going to plant their feet there. Would like if they swept their way through. There you go. Control ward will do just as much.
You can see that there's no vision from Mammoth placed around this Baron area because they know Gravitas would never consider that as a play. They realize that it all has to be around this jungle, keep tabs on him, look for very strong poke damage from afar, or look for opportunities to find picks. But will we get a full 5v5 before this Dragon starts? It's 5 seconds before mid-priority becomes that much more important as the wind wall goes down to deny the harassment, the retaliation. But the damage, as you can see there, 1 auto. And Beats is forced to retreat away.
It's a hard life face-checking your way into a Nico, into an Ezreal with the Iceborne Gauntlet as well, especially when that Glacial Augment is there for the Nico. An absolute nightmare. So you see them hold the line in mid lane Mammoth. They'll say, this is the area that we're just going to keep poking and throwing spells at you. And eventually, if you want to contest this Drake, you will walk at us. And Gravitas, they lost that battle, you know. 1 small spell, half health gone on Beats. And just like that, easy as you like, is we'll see a kick. We'll see what it means.
We're going to run it back with what appeared to be the fight from moments prior. That's going to be the knock-up into a 2-man last breath. Chungy gets exhausted, takes a lot of damage from afar. That is Puma finding a shot down. That is gold in his back pocket. Moonlight Vigil goes from afar. Will not connect. Signs of life. Aphelios with the 2 items. Ardent Sensor to buff it up. And Prayless this time finding success with his pick.
And there might have been a world where Mammoth choose not to take that fight, but I think the reinforcements came in and they were confident, they were feeling the opportunity. Of course, they just didn't have the positioning or the numbers to make that one happen straight like this.
Oh my gosh, lived. Calm down. The mobility, the catch potential, the CC, it was gross. Here we are hyping up Gravitas back in the jungle where they control the vision. They've got eyes in the sky and they see you.
Yeah, they got a whiff of an opportunity and then it just comes back and punches them in the face. They'll be able to get the picks there, Mammoth. Prayless sitting on the wings. They don't know he's there. He has the scrying plant. He's just copped a spear. They know he's there somehow. Now he's dead.
He's just going to get soloed. Literally going to get soloed here by Emboma. He does not need to burn that flash. He might chuck out the True Shot Barrage. He went for an attempt. Does not find it. However, the Baron attempt still continues. Kwaku flashes out there from the Blossom. They have the sustain, they have the heals here from Bass, but he's copping so much damage, and Gravitas may have just done enough to prevent that buff.
Yeah, they're going to stop the Baron. The cost was still pretty high. You know, a lot of stuff used on Disengage, teleported to be used by Human. You've got Kwaku, Prayless once again using their flashes. Beats with a flash of his own. Things still not looking very good for Gravitas at all, but they do buy some time. And that is... I want to say it's potentially a good amount of time. If they can get the game to a state where the Elder Dragon and the Baron are both alive, then at least the possibilities of a trade exist, right? In saying that, it becomes even harder to have vision control at both objectives, so they start to get themselves spread even more thin, and that's when they open themselves up to being picked off, like we saw Mammoth do just before.
What do we think of this itemization here, Rusty? The fact that we got double Ardent Sensor as opposed to the, the likes of Redemption, Shirelias, or say the Fiends?
Say it again, sorry?
We've got Ardent Sensor here on Karma, we've got Ardent Sensor here on the Lulu.
Yeah.
So obviously opting into the same itemization. We've had a day of double ups, really, if you think about the ongoing double Sunfire. The same to be said here.
I think we saw this a little while ago. It's not like a strictly bad thing. It'd be nice to have both, particularly for the Aphelios, to be able to buff him twice in different ways. But like, it's a very cost-efficient item, I'll say that much. The question is where they go from this point. I would have liked maybe an Athene's and a Redemption for one of them. But Ardent into Zhonya seems to be the play that we're going to be going for here if you assume it. So even for him, maybe the Athenes would have been a better option for the Ardent to have increased healing for a Redemption for the Lulu. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of doubling up, but I can't complain because the items themselves are just so cheap and so cost efficient to have.
Well, will the cost efficiency net them in a situation that gives them a winning chance in these fights? Down by 6,000 gold, down by 4 dragons at this stage of the game, but there's a clear objective in mind. Look to contest the Elder. That's up in 2 minutes. They've done a great job so far of preventing Mammoth going for the collapse and achieving the Baron buff. The more time they can buy, the opportunity for Puma to hit that free item spike with a Death Stance to become an absolute nightmare, empowered by double supports, mind you, becomes that much more relevant. We saw what he could do beforehand, but what is usually a strength of Gravitas with their mid and jungle has definitely been responded to and targeted here by Mammoth.
And this game does kind of hinge around the next 1 minute and 30 seconds if you were Gravitas. If they can manage to get a single pick, perhaps, they can at least open a corridor to get some vision down. There is very little going their way right now, but this may be the one opportunity they have to force something going back in their direction. Otherwise, the game just could be pretty doomed. This Baron is going to get started up instantly here by Mammoth the second they get vision control. Gravitas are nearby.
They are indeed. There's an item, or maybe even half an item advantage that Mammoth have over their counterparts in lane. The Baron's going to go. It's going to get shredded on down very quickly. No contest. Now, you've sacrificed one buff. You can't afford to let them have the Elder as well. That is up in 45 seconds. One potential last chance here to see Gravitas maybe flip the script.
I'm not even sure if they can, you know? Like, now that the Baron has been secured with so much notice until the Drake actually is alive, they should just be able to force lane priority if you were Mammoth. Just plant the Ezreal in mid lane, have the Nautilus, the Nico hover perhaps. You could plant the Yasuo as he is right now in bottom lane, hover him, wherever you're looking to force that priority in. And then just play the Baron out, you know? Force Gravitas to deal with minion waves, and then you have the free Elder Dragon control. Vision in the enemy red side jungle should come free by forcing them to show on waves. Mammoth, they're a little bit hasty right now, but they can do it because they're grouped as 5.
Max range hook, hits him with the passive, locks Praelis in place, gets knocked up twice as a result of Nico 2. Quake, you're going to be the focus, use the stopwatch and disengage the way. Baits in the attention of Mammoth, they're going to collapse. True Shot Barrage gets Suman down to half. They are playing on cooldowns, they are playing on turrets, and Puma has the dream item set up right now. He's got 3 items. He's got the empowerment, they survive, but Elder has now spawned.
And again, that's not about playing the waves, that's about just brute forcing your way into the enemy jungle. They succeed, Mammoth. They get blue trinket after blue trinket, trying to force some control on the objective. A Yasuo hitting this with an Ezreal means it just gets annihilated. Mammoth could turn.
Do this. He's stolen objectives before. Can he find a smite steal? Will Mammoth even give them an invitation to make it a 50-50 as it goes down to half? They turn to attention, but they keep it leashed. The fight connects. Quaku looking to try and jump into the backline, but he has no ultimate, he has no stopwatch, and he is very, very vulnerable. Has the flash, and they are playing sidestepping situations of, we don't want to walk in. Nidalee hits like a truck.
There's no tank available, though, for Mammoth. You know, they're relying on the heals of Bass, keeping everyone healthy enough to stay around in this area. There's no heals there for Gravitas, though. The teleport coming in,
Praelis
they're desperate.
So damn low. Super high tension at this stage as the the Elder gets lower and lower, down to 2k now, getting closer to that smite range. 50-50 is it possible. Prellis has a dash on in, he's got the kick to try and make something happen, but all the CC gets thrown his way. He's gonna fall on down. That's an Elder for free now. No contest if I've ever seen it. And now Mammoth have everything. Gold lead, buffs, and item advantages. And surely, with a 10k lead, well on their way to getting the first win of Split 2.
Yeah, surely. The teleport's going to come in. They're going to force their way down mid lane. Maybe look for an inhibitor, but they do not have 5 people here. They're even going to Ezreal or bot lane to try and just maybe either stop some recalls or force some control of that lane itself. That's at least the inhib. Baron does not last forever, though. And they spent so long around that Drake fight that it may just expire, and there it goes. So they'll do well to push as fast as they possibly can. But now they need to set up on the map one more time and look for picks and utilize the Drake to get more. Not the Baron for minion control, but the Dragon for kill threat.
It's going to be systematic here, Rusty. They are going to take structure after structure now, leading at 6 kills to 1, matching that of the kill count itself as well. 30 minutes in, Mammoth on a collision course to success here. It's been a rough split for them, but up against some opponents in a similar position, they are finding great success here and showcasing what the potential of this roster is if given a chance. The competition is built around key elements and to get those online very early on.
Oh no. Oh, he got ulted by Lulu. That would have been potentially an execute from the Elder Dragon after that Zonia's was used, but he'll survive. Compliments of Beats using that Lulu ultimate. Nevertheless, that's 2 inhibitors gone, 1 left to fall. We are watching 7th versus 8th in the OPL ladder, and for some reason, it's very exciting to see a team with 0 kills almost take down, and most likely take down a team with 1. I don't know why it's exciting, Skimmy, but I'm really enjoying it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, because this is a game that has definitely changed the mold of what we've come to know here from Gravitas. Typically speaking, hard carry jungler coming out of Prellis, hard carry in the mid lane. They've opted into the enable Puma train, and at this stage it has definitely not paid on out. He's up by so much CS. Everything has been spoon-fed to this man, but just unable to find a window, a world in which he can utilize it. It's been tough.
You mentioned methodical before. That's kind of what we're just waiting to see happen. You know, with 2 inhibs gone, you're waiting on the super minions to crash. Bottom's going to be very quick on that as well. Massive Ezreal ultimate. They can't just freely break, especially not when you've got the flamethrower there for Puma, because he has all of the shields for him to step up. It's about, can you maybe hit the Nico E, or can the wind wall work on the minions so that you can push? And the free way to do that is to have the supers start to crash. You've got about 30 seconds. Maybe with this next wave, the supers will start to become a nuisance. We'll see how they go.
Certainly are coming through mid and bot, are they now? As Gravitas look to showcase what they can do. Prellis once again jumps on in, but having such a hard time trying to find a kick target, trying to actually survive. It's even been an influence in these team fights, and as those supers crash on in, the numbers will have to peel away from this top turret. Puma left as a one-man army to do what he can to try and keep the Ravagers that are Mammoth at bay.
He's switched over to the Gravitum now, so he's not going to have as much team fight threat with the Shurikens gone. They're looking for Chuggy.
True Shot Barrage comes out once again, doing a ton of bad damage, but that time not to great effect. Millie's going to go out. Exhaustion's trying to find themselves some form of success, and despite the 3-man Nico lock in place, they do manage to take that Artec.
Not
looks
the
like
inhib,
Rusty,
though.
they are maybe going to hold on to their 3rd inhib here as well.
Yeah, they're going to be able to hold the fort, so you're looking at the mid lane inhib, expecting that to be up reasonably soon, as this one was the first to fall. Now they will most likely have to concede this Baron once again. But if their inhibs are up by the time the Elder Dragon spawns, at least they'll have an opportunity to fight. We'll see how they play this one out though, because it'll just be gone. They may try and force their way in here though. Teleports in.
They certainly are. They're going to teleport in. That's going to be Sumin joining the team fight. The Baron's gone though. Too little too late. Liv going to use his ultimate preemptively, but not going to find any kill target as they do not decide to commit for supports empowering support. The support's dying regardless. Now Shungi receives the exhaust.
Pume is huge.
And he will get shut down. This is what the composition was built to do. Empower Diaphilios. But so much reliance on one man. It's like the pressure is definitely getting to him.
Yeah, Puma's taken a mighty long time to recall here though, so his base is dying. Assume it's going to be the first one to get back here. Let's talk about silver linings. There's a lot of minions. And Aphelios is getting those items. You know, he's got 4 items completed. He's going to be pretty big. So they're getting more time to farm. They aren't pushing with the Baron yet. And they've got a minute until the Elder Dragon spawns. So we can say there's money in his pockets. There's that. Maybe they can get some vision down in their own red side jungle before Mammoth get in there. And I think so far they'll get 1 or 2 pieces of vision put down. And they have got a team fight composition that scales decently well, particularly around Puma. It requires a 1v5 effort with a Karma and a Lulu shielding him. But he does have both summoner spells and a stopwatch. So I think he can do it.
It's the best possible chance for him to do so, Rusty. 20 seconds into this one. Double support empowering a man with this much protection as you highlight. It's going to be a tall order, however, because Livs himself has the Zonias as well as a stopwatch. A ton of mitigation for him to play around with and continue to be a bully as he has been all game. Preyler's going to take this opportunity once again to try and force that fight. Karma responding in the top side. Now, as the second Elder of the game spawns, can they find success this time?
Once again, that mid lane priority is going to prove to be vital for the side of Gravitas, but you've got Chungi trying to end the game bot lane. So Gravitas have put themselves on a clock. They're forcing their way in.
Just having such a rough time running at these targets as
they're going to lose the game.
3 members are low. Chungi's just going to end this game on his own accord. He does not have any concern about this fight. He believes in the poke. He believes in the harassment. There's only one next time surviving. Mammoth have done the dance beautifully here. Flirted with the idea that Elder is your must-win comeback situation. They have taunted them in that buff's range. And Chungi says, you don't ban my comforts, you give it to me, I pop off on them, and I will end this game.
He's going to take one down first. He might look for a second here. We'll see how much he chooses to prolong this. The reinforcements are coming as well. But nevertheless, you're right, Mammoth, they have wiped Gravitas out in this game with a clean victory.
Out go the emotes, and out go to GG conditions. The first victory for them in Split 2 here. It's going to have to feel good for them. Weeks and weeks in the making. Pride on the line to not only take down your previous teammates, but then after all this change and speculation as to what really should Mammoth be looking to do, returning to fundamentals, or maybe just spicing things up.
You could say that. I mean, they played very well in the early game. They played a lot of champions that they're super familiar with as well, very comfortable for all of them individually, and that does prove to help them a lot. There was still some inconsistencies there, once again, from the side of Gravitas. That comes as no surprise at this point, however. And it was just one of those games where, I don't want to say you flip a coin and see who wins, but you flip a coin for Gravitas on an individual level and say, how are they performing on the day? And giving one of your most consistent carries in Sume and the likes of a Karma isn't one of, in my opinion anyway, the best ways to play League of Legends if you're them right now to be able to win.
Well, regardless of what the game plan was going into that game, Mammoth will take those victories, one that they will look to then try and capitalize on. And as we talked about in Split 1, the run is now on. That is their first step to success. Potentially we see a walk next week. But the final game of the night, we're going to jump to a quick break, but you do not want to go anywhere. Get yourself some snacks, get yourself some drinks, get comfy, because it's a big one. It is the first OPL Classico of the Split, with Chiefs taking on Legacy.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play, got to multiple members. He gets himself a double kill. It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, Contact free, we'll be here.